that is lacking in callbacks on a regular basis. Like, look, some nights everybody's at the fucking Muse concert or whatever, and you know, you have a light audience, or you have most of your cast is skeletal, and you don't have your key callback people. That happens, right? But you don't want that to be your experience. And if your audience isn't doing it, I think you need to provide it as a cast, and you need to have people that are assigned to do it. You know, you don't have to like officiate this thing like a role, or really, you know, police it in a way, but say, look, you two are really good at callback lines. I would like you on this side and you on this side. I would like you to take charge of that tonight and make sure that our audience experience is one that they will go home and never forget, and that they'll blog about in a positive way and say, oh my God, I can't believe the funny shit that crazy man was saying in the eye. Like, you need that. You need that to keep your audience healthy, and you'll get more people coming and keep your shows healthy, you know. And yeah, I think it's important that if you don't have it naturally, that you think about something like that, not even as a title on cast that you can audition for or anything like that, but just as something an already existing cast member that has an affinity for or a good skill set can do. And I think you need to think progressively like that. You were raising your hand a minute ago.
I just disagree that was the audience, especially if you don't have regular audience, like
right.
You don't have the people that are showing up every time.
And especially if any of you do, there's a lot of casts that like pop up just for Halloween, or for 2 or 4 times a year, or around a college show. You know, that kind of a thing where you don't have an experienced Rocky Horror audience, but they all might have gone once when they were 16, or they've heard about it on the internet. And, you know, they think they know what the Rocky Horror experience is, but we all have a responsibility to give it to them, right? I mean, everyone's got a different little twist on what that experience is, but the audience participation is certainly consistent.
Well, every cast has rules regarding audience participation. Who could do it, when, and where it might interfere, where it might annoy, whatever. So every cast kind of has their rules. Sins has walking up and down. MI has anybody in the front of the stage, no performers, even in costume, can do it. It's pretty much whatever works with the cast. So basically, cast by cast law. And in regards to like having a shot match or whatever, everybody's pretty much tried to have it, or somebody on the cast and taking it among themselves. They just automatically do it. So you just give them that honor and stuff.
Even if you just have one. I went to Jeff's show in DC, and I was traveling a bunch of different shows over a short period of time, and I took a trip to the East Coast for 2 weeks, and I hit like 5 shows in 3 weekends. It was really cool. And he had a great guy there. I was like dueling all night. He was on one side, so I took the other side, and I was kind of like watching him to see when he was ready to do something, so I wasn't doing something at the same time. And it was like just this cool back and forth thing. It was really a lot of fun. The audience was fucking dying. But like, he's got that one strong guy that's really, really fucking funny. Everybody needs that. You gotta have that. And if you don't right now, if you're thinking about it going, who's my person? And you don't have 1 or 2 people, that's something you need to find.
And not just Guy. One of the, you know, I forget her name because this was like about 15 years ago. But in Denver, there was this lady that was there that did this. Right, Garrett.
And here's the thing. Good callbacks are never going to take away from your show. If you have mediocre performers, good callbacks are only going to strengthen your show overall. If you have great performers, good callbacks are going to make a great show even better. So, you know,
I don't think a first-time audience even registers your overall performance quality. Like, they're not, you know, Columbia didn't turn at Frank the right
time.
She
missed her hand twitch.
That's not something a first-time audience gets. That's something that an audience that has gone to a couple of different shows starts to differentiate between, you know, a couple of casts that are near each other. Or, I mean, look, if you have a really terrible show, that's going to register. But if you're anywhere from like mediocre and up, it's all the same to their you know, untrained eyes. It's the experience. Right. It's 360 degrees around you. It's really important, and that whole audience vibe is important. Plus, is anyone here not currently or was formerly on a cast? Is anyone here an audience member? No, you were on a cast. Mel, you're one. You're an audience member?
I'm not in anything. No.
Never have been?
Nope.
You?
Used to be.
Used to be. Okay. So 2 people. 2 people here are audience members that haven't been on a cast, and that's pretty average for percentage-wise for a con. And my question is, why don't our audience members come with us to cons? And in the last few cons, I mean, I think, handful here, handful there.
It's our own secret.
But this is a playground for everybody that likes Rocky, right?
Yeah. I thought it was a vacation from the audience.
But
The entire audience.
The audience is being yelled at.
it's a vacation to a more scrutinizing audience.
More selective audience.
But I think like if that experience was more of a party, and I mean, look, if it's a really cool experience, they join the cast, that's awesome too. But there should be more audience members coming that just like Rocky Horror, like that got that cool experience, and then there's a fucking con.
We'll get them Saturday.
Gotta go.
Saturday's
Yeah, and I think you should fight the perception that audience members might have. It's like, oh, well, the cons are just for the cast members. They won't want me there. Bullshit. I want them there. I want the audience. I want our audience. I hope to God tomorrow night our regular Phoenix audience shows up in droves and fills every one of the seats. Here's hoping. Yes. Go ahead.
It's about, I grew up in West Hollywood, which West Hollywood, you know what it is. It's the men who teach you how to, garden, how to cook, and it's the women who teach you how to hustle a pool and please a woman. Okay, so
There's no men pleasing women in West Hollywood.
So growing up there, you're the most non-homophobic, non-sexist, non-racist person going there. So the term, the FAG word, which is used in Rocky, traditionally, over the years, I've only found 2 acceptable uses of it. Electromagnet term, like words there, kind of works and whatever. And then you have to do it because everybody does it. I can make you a fag just like your dad. Those 2, I don't say the FAG, I say FEG. I say fag or whatever. So I'm trying with lately, like.
You don't like it's a fag smoking a fag after smoking a fag?
I love that. And those are fine too, maybe. But just the overuse of it, like unless it's that timely and I'll get them, I hate and I cringe hearing it. And I know other people of that hate it because we don't yell the N-word all the time.
Oh my God.
we do.
Oh my God.
We just say
Speaking of, where'd Brian Crawford go?
But my thing is, I've been slowly kind of abolishing, like I'll do the electromagnet, whatever callback on occasion. I can make you fag just like her, man. And I don't do it's a fag, smoking fag after smoking fag. That's for this douche to do, and it works.
I'm gonna have to.
But I don't like to do it in unison. That's just my thing. Like, I had an uncle, he was up for gay rights. They had matches that said no fags allowed in restaurants, and he made sure they didn't have those anymore. So when I go to Rocky and it's kind of used or whatever, it's kind of like, okay, if it's funny, but when it's kind of used just for the fact that they can say it, it's kind of abusive, and I just don't like hearing it or saying it. Even though I'm a straight guy myself.
I agree with you about it being abusive. It's like, a few N-words or a lot of N-words in Pulp Fiction
I've never heard of N-word.
was fine, but in Jackie Brown it was excessive. It has to do, I think, with where you're coming from. I mean, we have, our more than our fair share of gay people at our shows, and they seem to roll with it. In fact, I've seen them use the line, use the various lines quite a bit. I really have to think that if you're at Rocky Horror, I'm not saying it makes it okay to use it in a regular context, or use it as a slur,
Isn't
or use
being
it
at Rocky
insultingly.
Horror kind of like?
Yeah, I mean, if it's
black
done
people
funny
call
by
each other
Scott.
Yeah, I think that's kind of it.
Isn't that okay for us?
But it might be regional too. I mean, it might be,
Look, I run around in women's underwear.
Yeah.
Just saying.
No one's going to accuse you of being homophobic.
I was a woman for 2 years, so I can say that.
Oh, wow. Well, the hormones took very well. I know, because he was in my room last night. Oh, yeah.
See, I don't know if that's a big thing, if I just have sand in my vagina or whatever, so that's just my personal
I think there's a few grains.
Okay.
There's a couple grains. We really haven't even touched Phantom stuff yet, and I've still got a few things I wanted to touch on. More questions about callbacks, but yeah, that's a good point. We've talked a lot. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Yeah, okay. So the Rocky and the callbacks especially is one of the few instances that you really have an oral tradition. that, you know, you do have scripts, kind of joke oral tradition. But
It's the one designated film on the planet that you could actually talk and yell, so that's what we have.
well, no. I mean, there are definitely more, and I was going to touch on this, like other cult movies that, you know, maybe come up in recent years, like The Room, for instance, where you have like another situation where people organically come up with lines.
I don't know that The Room is organic, but
yeah. Well, but so especially like the oral tradition.
They're throwing forks, bro.
Yeah. But so you have this oral tradition that even though you do have scripts, and especially recently you have collaborative scripts that can be passed from one another, it still is largely an oral tradition. And in touching what you said earlier about getting new people involved, that's one of the hardest challenges, to actually, you know, teach it to them.
yeah.
So what do you think about you know, actually having these online scripts or sort of these collaborative full scripts?
Here's my deal about this. So you're saying that somebody's teaching. Nobody's teaching.
Well,
People show up and they learn. You know, you're just, you know, you like to think you're taught. You know, I'd like to think I was taught anything that I've said during the film. But no, you've shown up and you've heard it before. You've soaked it in, you know, and whether it was one person that said it or a whole audience that says it, you know, they're not. You're absorbing that more than anything else, because you're the one person out of the rest of the audience that got it. You know, it's the environment that you're in. Sure, people are saying it and you can think they're teachers. I'm not a teacher. Nobody in there is a teacher. It's something exciting for you, you absorb it and you learn it. It's like going to a comedy show and memorizing what your favorite comic says and spouting it out in a conversation to other people and everything. You know, it's like they didn't teach you that. You know, it's just something that you thought was exciting and absorbed. And that's where that comes in. That's where that road comes in.
And
it's like a sense.
And then to get back to where you said about having a script, I'm actually surprised, and maybe this is something that we can discuss doing. I'm surprised there's not like a shitload of Rocky riff tracks out there.
I think it's been done. There are scripts that are collaborative.
There's scripts, but like recording it almost like a commentary that you can time and
then add it on. Yeah.
You know, play it at home and then whatever. Like there should. I think that's
riff tracks.
That's a really brilliant idea.
That's a con thing.
And that's not saying that, like, I mean, look, you know, we've all touched on it. Everybody's got regional specific or cast specific stuff, and sometimes your audience gets the cast specific thing even, or they don't. And you just make the, you know, 20 people on cast laugh, which is still okay, but not in abundance, but it's okay. But you know, there should be something that I think that different groups should get together. There should be multiple riff tracks. You could, you know, see the San Francisco riff track and see what's funny to them and get probably a whole lot more, you know, some punk rock references and metal and stuff like that that's important to their culture. Or, you know, get the New York riff tracks and you're going to have a whole bevy of fucking angry New Yorkers. I mean, you know, and I think that would be great. I would, you know, I don't pop Rocky in to watch it at home at this point, but I might do that if I had that, you know. I think that'd be really fun for us.
Well, maybe that's something that could be. Hello, ladies.
I feel more inspired.
I don't know, maybe that's something that could be done as like a competition towards, or not a competition, but an exhibition or wagering towards RKO. We drove them away!
Oh, look at them.
Oh, I am.
They're skinny.
Yes.
Okay, I came into this late, but I don't know if we've talked about it. You know, there's a Google Doc with like where anybody can go add.
And have their own line.
There are a few.
Is that when you started?
No, I didn't start.
I would be interested in seeing that.
Yeah.
That could be cool, but that could also be kind of crazy because anyone can edit it.
Yeah, like
Well, the way that I've seen it done is there a setup where it actually shows, like, you know, the line and then what should be said in between, and other people can insert multiple.
Okay.
I would love to have that because there wasn't one out there. Shoutmaster and Phantom Facebook like thing. They kind of died this week. I put it up because I was offering to put up a callback line, but it never put in fruition. But I want to at least have a Facebook, Shoutmaster's callbacks, and then just again the Google Doc. You know, if I get that, bam, it's right there. So we just want one extra accessible way for them, because as an audience member myself, and I'm like, oh, I want to get these callbacks, I want to learn them, I don't want to bother this guy. I'm looking online for the callback, and then the first thing that pops up is the old school RockyReport.com site with that one, which is kind of outdated and not really 100% what's going on at my local.
Who was
theater.
President Clinton?
What?
Who was President Clinton? What is this?
He was the man.
President Clinton, and screw that. Who's Reagan?
I might shout my Reagan lines tomorrow night.
I still drop a Reagan now. But. So look, we've done a pretty good job as a community of like modernizing ourselves over the last few years, and you see that in a lot of the presentations on YouTube and Facebook, the way video pre-shows go now, and the different mixing that you see. And some casts really go a whole different level with some of their editing, and it's really cool. It's good that we're staying active like that. So to that idea, I mean, who out there has audio capabilities to do a rip track that has that kind of skill set? And if you do, I think you should do one. Yeah. And try and get, if you're in a multicast area, some people are off in an island, as it were, but for instance, in Northern Virginia, there's like 4 casts in a reasonable driving distance, right? There's at least you guys in TC, and then isn't there one other?
There's Satanic Mechanics.
Yeah.
Mechanics.